You're about to enter the most important meeting of the quarter. Your presentation is flawless. Your data is irrefutable. On the outside, you are the picture of confidence. But inside, an old enemy visits you. That cold knot in your stomach. That voice whispering that something will go wrong. You always thought this voice was fear. The truth is much more physical. That voice isn't in your head. It is, at this very moment, being born in your gut. You live in a constant state of alert. A knot in your stomach, a racing heart, an anxiety that you try unsuccessfully to fix in your head with meditation and positive thinking. I know this war because I fought it for years, until my body collapsed with a Crohn's diagnosis. It was at rock bottom that I discovered the truth that conventional medicine ignores. The source of my anxiety wasn't in my mind. It was in my gut. I am the sovereign of vitality, and today, I'm not here to offer you another breathing technique. I am going to give you the map to the root of the problem. In this decree, we will expose the hidden arsonists in your diet, and I will reveal to you the 3 calm foods that have the power to finally silence the crisis. Anxiety. For you, it's not just a worry in your mind, it's a physical sensation. It's the knot in your stomach before an important presentation. It's the heart that races for no apparent reason. It's that constant feeling that something terrible is about to happen, an internal vibration that robs you of your peace and presence. You've spent your whole life trying to fix this problem in your head, with meditation apps you can't focus on, with breathing techniques that seem useless in a crisis, maybe even with medications that leave you functional, but numb. You treat the symptom, but the root cause remains. The truth is that you are trying to put out a fire on the top floor, when the fire, in fact, started in the basement. Your anxiety problem is not a failure of your mind, but a desperate cry for help from your gut. I remember a client, a mergers and acquisitions lawyer, who described her anxiety as a chill down her spine that appeared before any negotiation. She spent years in high-performance therapy, believing it was a matter of self-confidence. The big turning point was when, while treating chronic gastritis, she realized that on the days her stomach was calm, the chill down her spine simply didn't appear. The symptom she thought was mental was actually the echo of an inflamed organ. Welcome to the truth that traditional medicine often ignores. Your gut is your second brain. It's not a pretty metaphor, it's a neurological fact. It contains more neurons than your spinal cord and produces over 90% of your serotonin, the neurotransmitter of happiness and calm. I know this because in my journey, therapy helped me understand my wounds, but it never healed the knot in my stomach. It was only when I started treating my intestinal issues, my Crohn's diagnosis, that the chronic anxiety that had accompanied me since childhood began to truly dissipate for the first time. Think of your body as a kingdom. Your brain is the queen on the throne, giving orders. But your gut is the council of ministers, the land, the people. If the people are in rebellion due to mistreatment and poor diet, a state of dysbiosis and inflammation, they send messengers of panic to the castle, day and night. The queen on her throne feels anxious, afraid, on constant alert. But she is just reacting to the bad news coming from below. Your anxiety is not irrational or all in your head. It is a perfectly logical response to an internal alarm signal that never stops ringing. This constant communication between the gut and the brain is a two-way information superhighway. An inflamed gut sends danger signals to the brain. The stressed brain worsens gut health. It's the perfect self-sabotage cycle, where one feeds the other in a spiral of discomfort and anguish. Liberation, therefore, doesn't come from fighting your anxious thoughts with more willpower. True liberation comes from changing the quality of the information your gut sends to your brain. Sovereignty is pacifying the kingdom so that the queen can finally rule in peace. So if your gut is the true source of your anxiety, how do we begin to silence this rebellion? The first step is to stop feeding the traitors. What are the foods that right now are throwing gasoline on the fire of your intestinal inflammation? The answer to that question is our next step. To silence the rebellion in your gut, a sovereign's first act is not to add something, but to remove the traitors. And the biggest traitors often disguise themselves as normal, or even healthy foods that you consume every day, believing you are on the right path. Let's call these enemies the chaos trio. 3 groups of foods that, for a large portion of high-performing women with an already stressed system, act as pure gasoline on the fire of intestinal inflammation and anxiety. They are gluten, dairy, and sugars, including artificial sweeteners. Think about your routine: the whole wheat bread for breakfast, the Greek yogurt for a snack, the natural sweetener in your coffee. You choose them with the conviction that you are doing the best for your body, feeling disciplined. But this is the genius of modern sabotage. It comes dressed as virtue. And while your mind celebrates the healthy choice, your gut is silently declaring a state of siege, and your anxiety, which you blame on work stress, is actually the smoke from a fire. You started yourself on your plate. The first arsonist is gluten. For many people, even those who are not celiac, the protein in modern wheat acts like a vandal on your gut wall. It irritates the lining, potentially causing micro-tears that allow undigested particles to leak into your bloodstream, triggering an alarm in your immune system and sending crisis signals to your brain. You think you're being healthy with your whole wheat sandwich for lunch or your fit pasta for dinner, but you may actually be perpetuating the cycle of low-grade inflammation that keeps your mind in a subtle but constant state of alert and anxiety. The second arsonist is dairy, specifically the A1 casein present in most modern cow's milk. For many women, this protein is an irritating messenger to the immune system, causing the same type of inflammatory response. That zero-fat yogurt or cottage cheese could be responsible for your chronic bloating and brain fog. And finally, the most obvious but most powerful member of the trio: sugars and artificial sweeteners. They are the favorite food of the chaos party in your gut. By consuming them, you directly fund the bacteria and yeasts that produce inflammatory toxins, which travel directly up the superhighway to your brain, generating anxiety. I saw this with a client, a marketing director who prided herself on her clean diet. She didn't eat sweets, but her diet was based on whole wheat bread, yogurt, and zero sugar, artificially sweetened bars. Her anxiety was constant. Peace only began to reign when we took a strategic pause from this trio. The bloating subsided, and her mind, for the first time in years, fell silent. You can't put out a fire without first stopping throwing fuel on it. Identifying and pausing the consumption of the Chaos Trio is your first act to remove the fuel from the fire of your anxiety. Now that you know who the arsonists are, the next step is to call in the firefighters. What are the foods that actively calm inflammation, nourish your harmony party, and send signals of peace to your brain? It's time to meet the 3 calm foods. You've stopped feeding the arsonists. A sovereign's next step is to recruit the elite team to put out the flames and rebuild the territory. The calm foods are your special agents, sent to pacify your intestinal kingdom and consequently, calm your mind. In my former life, I was a master of taking away. I took away calories, I took away fat, I took away carbs. My focus was always on what I couldn't eat, which kept me in a mental state of deprivation. The biggest turning point in my journey was when my functional nutritionist told me, "Sovereign, for 1 week, forget what you're going to take away. Focus only on what you're going to add." This simple shift in focus, from scarcity to abundance, was the beginning of my peace. The first and most powerful of these agents to add are fermented foods. Think kefir and sauerkraut. They are, in fact, military reinforcements for your harmony party. They are probiotics, new troops of good bacteria that arrive to restore order in your internal senate. These new soldiers don't just fight disorder, they are active producers of peace. Many of these bacteria produce calming neurotransmitters, like GABA and serotonin itself, directly in your gut. You are literally cultivating your own internal source of tranquility. Your first practical decree: start small. Add 1 or 2 spoonfuls of sauerkraut as a side dish with your lunch. Or drink a small glass of kefir in the morning. You don't need much. Think of it as sending the first diplomats to begin peace negotiations in your kingdom. The second calm food is bone broth. If fermented foods are the new troops, bone broth is the engineering and reconstruction team. It is rich in collagen and amino acids like glycine, which are the bricks needed to repair your gut wall. Remember the vandals like gluten, which may have created cracks in your kingdom's walls. Bone broth helps seal these breaches, preventing inflammatory particles from escaping and triggering the panic alarm in your brain. It literally rebuilds your defenses. The third general of your army of peace are sources of omega-3, like fatty fish, salmon, sardines, and chia seeds and flaxseed meal. Omega-3 is nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory agent. It acts as a pacification force, silencing the fire alarms that inflammation constantly triggers. Incorporating these foods gives you the biochemical foundation for calm. But if the stress of your daily life leads you to make choices that sabotage your gut, the problem goes beyond what's on your plate. Disarming the habit of seeking comfort in the wrong foods is the next step in your journey to sovereignty. And deconstructing these self-sabotage habits, born from stress, is the reprogramming system I detail in my practical guide, The End of Self-Sabotage. For the sovereigns who want not just the tool, but the complete manual for the mind, the link is in the first pinned comment. Now you have your 3 generals of peace. But how do you incorporate them into your high-performance routine without adding more stress and complexity to your life? Sovereignty is not about perfection, it is about strategy. The answer to that question is our next step. Now you know the traitors and the heroes of your gut health. But I know what you're thinking. Sovereign, how am I going to fit all this into my routine that already has no spare minute? You manage complex projects, teams, and budgets. The last thing you need is a diet that becomes another stressful project on your to-do list. That is why the final decree of our development is the Sovereign Simplicity Protocol. Mastery in the kitchen doesn't come from elaborate recipes or hours spent in front of the stove. It comes from strategic upgrades and a system that operates with minimal effort and maximum impact. I see this every day. Brilliant women who turn the pursuit of health into another performance project. They buy 20 exotic ingredients, plan to cook for 4 hours on Sunday, and in the first week that an unexpected work trip happens, the whole system collapses. They don't fail for lack of discipline, they fail for excessive complexity. True sovereignty is creating a system that survives the chaos of your life, not one that requires a perfect life to function. The first principle is the breakfast upgrade. Don't think about creating a whole new meal. Think about improving the one you already make. If you eat eggs, add a handful of spinach while you scramble them. If you drink a smoothie, add a spoonful of chia seeds or flaxseed meal. It's the same amount of time, with an infinitely greater biochemical return. The second principle is the one-a-day rule. For the new calm foods, like fermented ones, the rule is simple. Introduce only 1 per day. Today, add 2 spoonfuls of sauerkraut to your lunch. Tomorrow, maybe you'll have a cup of bone broth before bed. Don't try to do everything at once. Consistency in a small action is more powerful than the perfection you can't sustain. These principles are the foundation for making the change sustainable. But to have the complete battle plan, the 14-day step-by-step guide with shopping lists and recipes to pacify your gut definitively, that is exactly the map I deliver in my new guide, The Intestinal Peace Treaty. For the sovereigns who want not just the strategy, but the detailed action plan, the link will be in the first pinned comment. The all-or-nothing mentality is the biggest trap for the high-performance woman. It leads you to exhaustion and eventually to giving up. A sovereign does not seek the perfection of a single day, but the consistency of a lifetime. She knows that small daily deposits in her health account generate compound interest of vitality. You are not starting a diet. You are silently optimizing your operating system, one small upgrade at a time. It's like installing an update in the background on your computer. No drama, no fuss, just a better, faster performance every day. With this approach, feeding yourself ceases to be a battlefield and becomes another area of your empire that you govern with calm, intelligence, and efficiency. You don't need more time in your schedule. You just need the right strategy. Now, let's recap the weapons I've given you today and seal this decree with our conclusion. If you are ready to stop complicating and start commanding, leave your declaration in the comments. Simplicity is my power. And so, the decree is made. You now understand that your anxiety is not a random disorder of your mind, but a signal that your second brain, your gut, is in a state of alert. You have learned to identify the hidden arsonists and to recruit the calm foods for your army of peace. True tranquility doesn't come from trying to control your thoughts with more force, but from changing the biochemistry that feeds them. It's about pacifying your internal kingdom so that your mind, the queen, can finally govern with serenity and not in a constant state of siege. The ultimate goal is not just to have less anxiety. It is the power to enter an important meeting feeling centered and in control, not with a knot in your stomach. It is the freedom to enjoy your social life without that internal vibration of worry. It is, finally, to feel at home in your own body. The decree is made. If you have decided to stop being a hostage to an anxiety you didn't understand and become the commander of your inner peace, your journey begins now. The subscription to this channel is your public declaration that you are taking control of your biochemistry. Subscribe and activate notifications. Each week, a new decree will be issued to give you the tools and wisdom to reign over every aspect of your vitality. The revolution is just beginning.